Hello, it's Xiao. Today we'll be talking about scp-096. scp-096 is a liquid class anomaly. scp-096 is also known as Shy Guy due to its strange humanoid creature. Its height is approximately 2.38 meters and it has very little muscle mass, with primarily some analyzations of body mass suggesting mild nutrition. Arms are out of proportion with the rest of its body, with a length of 1.5 meters. No body hair and skin has no color. It also may not have pupils. The face of SCP-096 is mostly an average-looking human, but its eyes may be different. The SCP's jaw can open 4 times normal than in humans. It also shows no higher brain cell function. SCP-096 is also mostly docile. In its cell, there are pressure sensors, indicating it spends most of its time pacing by the eastern wall. It also doesn't need food. The scientists for SCP-096 determined that SCP is very shy. 096 tries to stay away from humans as much as possible, but when someone sees 096, whether it directly via recording or photo, it will enter a stage of emotional distress. 096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, babbling incoherently. In an average of 1 to 2 minutes after the viewing, SCP-096 will run to the person who saw it. It can move 35 kilometers in an hour, and it seems to depend on distance from who saw it. Whether the person who sees 096 it will chase them hiding does not seem to affect 096's response to finding the person. It can sense where the person is. When arriving to the person who sees SCP-096 begins to attack and kill the person. Then after it will sit down for several minutes before it composes and then become docile again. Then the SCP Foundation will put the SCP in shelter. In a case someone only saw part of SCP and was killed. So far, nothing can stop or slow down SCP-096 from a commander from a recovery team said even if they shot it repeatedly, it doesn't feel anything. They even tried anti-tank weapons, causing some of the body organs and blood to be gone, but still was going forward and destroying the entire team. When SCP-096 is running, it doesn't cover its face. Anyone who happens to see it will become a target. Due to containment breaches, someone recommended it be exterminated. Several attempts have happened and none has succeeded, one even being SCP-682, also known as the Unkillable Lizard. In SCP-096 containment cells, there are no cameras or optical tools of any kind. Of all photo video recordings of SCP-096 are forbidden, but it said an abstract painting or a cartoon image will not stimulate the emotional distress of SCP-096, but there are recordings of SCP-096 audio log, one countering SCP-096. This is the incident audio log for 096 audio log.
The following is an excerpt from the interview regarding Dr. Graham and Captain Ronaldo. The interview involving a debriefing on Incident 0961A.
Always sucks ass to get initial retrieval duty. You have no idea what the damn thing is capable of, besides what jacked up information the field techies can scrape up, and you're lucky if they even tell you the whole story. They told us to bag and tag. Didn't tell us jack shit about not looking at the damn thing.
Could you just describe the mission, please?
Yeah, sorry. We had 2 choppers. One was my team, and one on backup with Zulu 9-B and Dr. We spotted the target about 2 clicks north of our patrol path. I'm guessing he wasn't facing our direction, or else he would have taken us out there and then.
Your report says that SCP-096 didn't react to the cold. Was it negative Celsius?
Well, actually, it was minus, and yes, it was buck naked and didn't so much as shiver. Anyway, we landed, approached the target, and Corporal got ready to bag it. That's when Dr. Yeah, well, I never saw its face. My squad did, and they paid for it up the ass.
Could you describe it a little more, please?
Yeah. It started screaming at us and crying. Not animal roaring, though. It sounded exactly like a person. Really fucking creepy. started firing when it picked up Corporal and ripped off his leg. God, he was screaming for our help. Fucking A. Anyway, we were blowing chunks out of the target, round after round. Didn't do jack shit. I almost lost it when it started. Him.
That's when you ordered the use of a AT-4 HEDT launcher?
An anti-tank gun. Started carrying it ever since SCP got loose. I've seen those tear through tanks like tissue paper. Did the same thing to the target.
There was significant damage to SCP-096?
It didn't even fucking flinch. It kept tearing apart my squad, but with half of its torso gone.
But it was taking damage?
If it was, it wasn't showing it. It must have lost all its organs, all its blood, but it didn't acknowledge any of it. Its bone structure wasn't hurt at all, though it kept tearing my squad apart.
So no actual structural damage. How many rounds would you say were fired at SCP-096?
At the least, 1,000. Our door gunner kept his GAU-19 on it for at least 20 seconds. 20 fucking seconds! That's 600 50 caliber rounds pumped into the thing, might as well have been spitting at it.
This is when Zulu 9-B arrived?
Yeah, and my squad was gone. Zulu 9-B managed to get the bag over its head, and it just sat down. We got it into the chopper and got it here. I don't know how I never saw its face. Maybe God or Buddha or whatever thought I should live. Jackass.
We have a taped an artist depiction of SCP-096 face. Would you like to view it?
You know, after hearing that thing's screams and the screams of my men, I don't think I want to put a face to what I heard. No. Just no.
All right, I believe we're done here. Thank you, Captain. Let this be on record that I am formally requesting SCP-096 to be terminated as soon as possible.
That was the end of the first audio log. On to the second one.
SCP-096. Object Class Euclid. SCP-096 measures roughly 2.5 meters in height, with barely any muscle mass or body hair. Its limbs are completely out of proportion to its body, each arm measuring at a length of 1.5 meters. The activity of SCP-096 is far from normal, spending most of its days pacing the eastern wall of its cell. The only real issue reveals itself when somebody sees its face. From this point onwards, SCP-096 becomes severely emotionally distressed, covering its face with its sickly, twisted arms whilst crying, screaming, and even babbling. It will then take it upon itself to seek out whomever was to view its face, attempting to charge towards them at speeds of 35 kilometers per hour and even higher, though the speed typically depends on the distance between the viewer and the SCP. Scarily enough, the location of the viewer does not seem to change the behavior of SCP-096, as it will have a constant, yet logically impossible sense of where the victim is at all times. Whenever 096 actually reaches the person, it will proceed to kill them, and somehow leave no traces of the victim's biological matter. SCP-096 is contained in an airtight steel cube at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. Because of the nature of the SCP, only 2 cloaked video surveillance tools are used inside its cell. For safer research and security, personnel use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure its presence inside the cell.
Audio log giving a bit more detail on what it was. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed.